once I realized I had the coin design and all the drawings were turned in and there was a sense of closure for the mint, I did a portrait of Abraham Lincoln because my closure wasn't really complete yet. I feel like my emotional involvement with Lincoln as a man and as a visionary was still really intense in me, and I decided to do a portrait of him to try to embody all of that. It was very much a form of inspiration, and it was really rattling around. What I did was go through the portrait photographs of Lincoln. There's many, many portraits at different stages of his life. This photograph was actually a portrait shot by Anthony Burgess, who was an assistant to Matthew Brady. He did it in 1864, and it's at the National Archives in Washington. I had not seen it before. I was looking through wonderful daguerreotype portraits of Lincoln, and they were very familiar, very ordinary, very typical. But this photograph by Anthony Burgess really spoke to me because it was a form of really quiet achievement and accomplishment. I don't think he ever discounted what it cost to go through the Civil War. I can't imagine what it's like to carry that many ghosts around with you and to realize what you have just asked your own country to do. I agree with what he did, obviously. If I didn't, I'd be telling a different story. But that portrait of him was one that I thought I could really emote and really kind of get out all of this super intense emotion that had built up inside of me. And that's always a good reason for making a work of art. So I sat very patiently and carefully and went through every wrinkle of his face and wanted to put something in his eyes that was only him. You know, it was really who he was as a person, what kind of man he had become. And that was what I tried to do in that portrait. The expression that Abraham Lincoln has in the portrait I drew, it owes everything to Anthony Burgess. And part of, I think, why it appealed to me is Burgess was not, you know, the great Matthew Brady. He was the guy bringing the plates to Brady and helping on all kinds of ways. But his eye was fresh into the portraiture. We can only imagine after the 205th portrait that Matthew Brady did of Abraham Lincoln, he had his lighting, he had his timing, he had all this stuff. But Burgess was probably really felt compelled, because of the time in history that the photograph was taken, to also do his own work. So there's like a little underdog thing there for Burgess to have done that. But I think that it gave it more emotion and it gave it more depth as far as allowing Lincoln to be himself in that photograph. He's not imposing himself on the portrait as much. And for me, the emotion that Lincoln is portraying is a mystery. I mean, I can only fathom. It's like looking at a mountain. You wonder how a human being could have been as strong despite adversities beyond, and be able to contain himself and be kind and be not bitter and have the best interests of what he was supposed to do at heart.